Section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Nigeria's federalism provides for 3 tiers of government, and with devolution of powers, each tier has spelled out roles to achieve that section of the Nigerian Constitution. How well are these tiers delivering on their statutory functions? There is also the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC. The body is responsible for the monthly disbursement of monies to the federal, state and local government, the Commonwealth of Nigeria. How well these allocations are utilized for the welfare and security of citizens is also something we hope to examine on this edition of the program. I am Amotola Omojola, and it is always a pleasure to have you join us on Dateline 360. Mia Ogidi opens this edition with a look at the relationship between the 3 tiers of government and how current realities are raising concerns, especially at the state and local government levels, while demanding good governance.
Security, education, and provision of basic amenities are areas citizens expect much from the government. Federal, state, and local governments shared these responsibilities as clearly mapped out in the exclusive, concurrent, and residual list. Yes, the federal government takes care of responsibilities in the exclusive list, like external affairs, printing of currency, and many more, while the items in the concurrent list, like welfare of the citizens, security, and of late, power generation, are shared by the federal and the state governments. Current realities, however, place the federal government on the spot, like a punching bag, receiving all the blames. And for a constitutional lawyer and former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olusa Agbakoba, senior advocate of Nigeria, says the overbearing powers of state governors with lack of the will to meet up their constitutional responsibilities is the foundation of Nigeria's current woes.
If you are running a domestic household, and you are spending, and your spend is more than you're bringing in, you've got to take a decision. So now that money is running short in Nigeria, I think people are beginning to look at new and novel ways to cut the budget. So we simply have to reduce the level of spending. So this is the time to ask hard questions.
Back then, we used to see that governors would be complaining, they don't have money to do this, to do that. But now they've been getting money like never before, including the local government areas. But in the north, you will see Governor Zulu, bags of rice, not once, not twice. In Yobe, the same thing. So what is our own governors in the south? What are they doing with our money? I don't even want to talk about those in the south. Because those ones collect money, they will collect 13% derivation, collect ecological fund, yet where is the money?
Section 162 that makes the states and local governments to have a joint account is the beginning of the trouble for local governments in the country. Until this account is separated, the local governments will just be an appendage to the state governors. And for Agbakoba, no allocation should be given to the states with no elected local government chairman.
I have gone on appeal, and I hope that on appeal, I should establish the principle that the federal government cannot fund non-elected, non-democratic governments. And as you know, right across Nigeria, since 1999, it's been the habit and practice of state governors, in collaboration or in collusion with the state independent electoral commissions, not to hold elections.
These are brilliant points raised by the senior advocate of Nigeria, Olusa Agbakoba, and they need to be considered, especially on the area of getting elected local government chairmen in order to strengthen the system of government at the 3rd tier level. And on the part of the governors, the citizens of the respective states need to ask questions, especially how the resources allocated to them are utilized. With this, some of the issues confronting the nation can be properly addressed. For Dateline 360, Mia Ogidi.
The Federal Allocation Committee, FAC, plays an important role in Nigeria's governance process by ensuring the equitable distribution of funds among the different levels of government from the Federation account. Nneka Oko, in our next package, brings us knowledge about this all-important committee, what the allocations are meant for, and why some states receive larger shares than others.
The Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, is one of the bodies specifically created to give expression to Nigeria's federal structure. Established over 4 decades ago, the committee operates by receiving funds from various sources such as oil royalties, taxes, and other revenues, which are then shared among the 3 tiers of government according to a revenue sharing formula. Under the current revenue sharing formula, the federal government gets 52.68%, states 26.72%, and local government councils 20.6%, while the remaining 13% is allocated to the oil-producing states as derivation revenue.
States like Delta, states like Rivers get more allocation, while states like Gombe get the least. Gombe, Ekiti, Ebonyi, these states get the least. So why are they getting the highest? Simply because they are oil derivation states where they have 13% ahead. You know, they get special 13% consideration in terms of income. Then Lagos also gets very a big one too, maybe like third. And why Lagos is because Lagos have more population. So when you look at the local government size, they have more population. So these are the things they look at before they allocate money to this state.
While the monthly allocation is to ensure development at different levels of government, and especially to enable states meet their obligations, including payment of salaries and execution of critical projects, its impact, the experts say, extends far beyond that.
If they are coming to federal government to get their amount, they should tell us, this amount we are getting from you, we want to fix A, B, C. And if they don't fix that ABC, you can now say you won't get next. We have 774 local government. They also get allocation. What have they used that allocation? So sometimes we also canvass for a project direction. Okay, that this money we are giving you, we expect each state to buy at least 100 each local government to buy at least 100 tractors. Right, and show us the evidence we have, because like this food crisis we are having now, if you have had a productivity up to that level, it will have reflect in our outcome. So there is need to have a serious monitoring.
The states hold the key to their own prosperity, and just like a magical gift, the monthly allocations come with immense responsibility, where only its judicious utilization can become the catalyst for a brighter future. For Dateline 360, Nneka Oko.
Thank you, Nneka. Without a doubt, state governments have sustained efforts to drive Nigeria's economic growth and social development since the nation returned to democratic rule. Ese Onwamaka, with the Lagos experience, gives insight into the mechanism and dynamics through which state governments impact Nigeria's economy.
Nigeria, as a diverse nation-state, is home to over 250 ethnic groups, each with its own distinct language, culture, and history. This diversity poses a significant challenge to nation-building and state-building efforts. As such, the Nigerian government implemented various institutional frameworks aimed at promoting unity and development, including the federal system, which grants a degree of autonomy to the different regions and allows for power sharing between the federal government, states, and local government.
When it comes to state governance, we are looking at infrastructure. If you have it, we'll say, okay, you're doing so well. We're looking at security and safety of your people. If you're doing it, so we'll say very well.
The state governments are close to the people. So, do they need any other measuring instrument except to look into the faces of the people to see whether they are happy or not?
It's not just enough to say we have built 1,000 hospitals. Have you reduced infant mortality rate? Have you reduced maternal mortality rate?
However, the monthly revenue allocation disbursed to states and its local governments by the federal government to improve the well-being of its citizenry raises the question: how well do the governed know about this revenue allocation to states and its impact on their livelihood?
Apart from maybe people in courses like economics, accounting, or maybe political analysis, and the few educated ones, the rest don't even know what their states get.
This is one thing I think everybody should be carried along, because that's the only way there will be transparency.
As far as Lagos State is concerned, they have been very, very fair to the allocation that they are collecting from the federal government.
The third tier of government is the local government, and it is widely known as a vital instrument for rural transformation and machinery for effective delivery of socio-economic services to the welfare of citizens at the grassroots.
Local government is supposed to be in charge of tenement rate. Local government is supposed to be in charge of advertisement. Local government, but most states have promulgated edicts. They have enacted edicts to make that and have state parastatals taken care of. In Lagos, you have land use charge, you have LASRA. These are functions of local government.
With the prevailing situation of the country, state governments ought not to rest on their oars, but make concrete efforts in ameliorating the plight of its citizens.
There is nothing stopping the state government from institutionalizing scholarship in schools. If these are done, those young ones that cannot afford to pay their school fees or take care of themselves educationally will be able to at least enjoy education.
What the governor should do is go to interact with the people, add value to what they are doing. If they are farming, know where they have problems.
I can boast of Lagos State that you can see the infrastructures, okay? Many primary schools are being built, some are being renovated, and I think this is a giant step.
In all of these, political analysts say Nigeria will benefit immensely if state governments foster accelerated, sustainable socio-economic development through effective collaborations with key stakeholders to improve the well-being of its citizens. For Dateline 360, S.A. Omomaka.
And in Kano, Awal Salisu reports that although the impact of the monthly allocation is glaring in the capital city, considering the level of capital projects executed, social commentators believe that priority should be given to the rural parts of the state, which are not given enough attention.
Every month, the Federal Account Allocation Committee distributes federal revenue to all 36 states and 774 local governments in Nigeria. This crucial funding is expected to fuel development and assist governments at all levels in fulfilling their responsibilities.
Bulk of the states rely heavily on the federal allocation, meaning that their IGR is not significant. As such, this federal allocation needs to be monitored and need to be used judiciously.
The allocation we are expecting from the federal government used to come to the state government directly, and we are expecting that allocation should be useful to our people of Kano State.
Analysts in Kano highlighted centralization of developmental projects in the state capital, high cost of governance and misplacement of priority as some of the major impediments to good governance.
We expect that the money that is actually allocated to state and the local government could be judiciously be utilized for the benefit of the people. But unfortunately, some of the governors have not really focus their own attention on that. So they rather focus their own attention on doing that, which is just only window dressing and also grandstanding on certain places.
There is a need for various levels of government to re-strategize and to, of course, reprioritize so that all policies that all monetary spendings should have an effect on the economy.
They, however, suggested that more needs to be done by the state and federal governments to implement policies and programs aimed at mitigating the impact. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf invited members of the business community to discuss reasons for the rising cost of essential commodities. If local governments can get their allocation directly from the federal government, the analysts believe it will go a long way towards helping local authorities to implement programs and projects that will better the life of the citizenry, especially the rural population. In Kano, Awal Salisu reporting for Dateline 360.
Next, we go to the east, Abia State precisely, where Grace Nana reports that, yes, citizens are witnessing development in the area of road construction, but expressed concern about the welfare of the citizenry. Her inquisition also reveals that only the enlightened members of the society are aware of the monthly federal allocation to states.
In 2023, Abia State received a total of 125.92 billion naira as federal allocation. However, are citizens aware of this allocation, and do they demand accountability for its expenditure?
Yes, some who are interested are, by virtue of the social media, a lot of information is always there for us to access. If we go to the handles of federal governments, they always disclose. Some state governments also disclose.
Since the present government came into Abia State, you can now see that the amount received is commensurate with the work done. You may be hearing of allocation of several millions or billions of naira. You find out that citizens, they find it difficult following up with the allocation.
There has been a noticeable surge in development in the state, prompting even previously disinterested individuals to take an interest in governance.
Now, having seen what is happening in Abia State, I am a citizen. I know now that something that is being given to Abia is being made use of.
While it is the responsibility of state governments to provide social, economic, and infrastructural amenities, citizens often face challenges in demanding accountability for these services.
We have a docile citizenship. People don't ask questions. Just a few persons ask questions. Those who ask are being answered with the work the government is doing.
There is a growing observation of collaboration between the local and state governments in the states, which is seen as a positive step towards good governance. Citizens are, however, calling for the judicious use of the monthly allocation by the state and local governments so as to alleviate their economic challenges. In Aba, Grace Nana for Dateline 360.
In Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, the stroke appears different with citizens. Clement Barikwi reports that, yes, they advocate short-term measures by the state government to cushion the impact of the economic hardship in the country. They, however, think it is too early to appraise the performance of their state government in terms of capital projects and infrastructure development, notwithstanding the receipt of federal allocation.
Data released by the National Bureau of Statistics show that Akwa Ibom State has received not less than 149 billion naira from the Federation Account Allocation Committee between June and December 2023, 7 months into the life of the present administration. The 31 local government councils in the state are not left out, as they are also benefiting from the national allocation. Findings reveal that there is a huge gap between resources allocated and the required impact, particularly at the local government level, a situation that is raising concerns among citizens over the years on the performance of local government councils. With such allocations to these two tiers of governments, the citizens expect interventions in critical sectors.
Government is working, but there are so many departments government has not delved into, like in the education sector and agricultural sector. If the government can give out incentive to farmers, maybe update them on the recent machines that are working as seedlings, I think we can improve the economy. Plus, little, what do we call it, entrepreneurs, they should be given some stipend to improve their businesses.
These residents are aware of the Federation Account Allocation Committee and the monthly disbursement to the state and local governments, yet believe not much can be done by states to turn the economy around.
Without the fuel coming down, nothing our state government can do concerning this fuel something.
When Mr. President makes the mentioning of the increase of the petrol price, that is where everything kickstarts.
Some residents of Uyo are, however, of the opinion that coming out of the present economic realities requires deliberate policies by the three tiers of government. Clement Barikwi for Dateline 360.
Our last piece comes from Yenagwa, and Aya Prezi reports that government of Bayelsa State since creation in 1996 has played a significant role in the development of the state, which was a complete rural backwater at creation due to years of neglect and marginalization. He examines efforts by the state government towards the development of the state and by extension Nigeria and the role of citizens in the governance process.
Over the years, citizens at one point or the other have voiced their complaints, critiqued government position on a number of issues in the media, and engaged operators with a view to addressing their concerns.
People are beginning to resort to courts to obtain appropriate orders to challenge misgovernance or inappropriate or wrongful actions of government. You are aware that recently an order was granted to force the state government to ensure that we have leadership at the local government levels being products of democratic processes.
Citizens contribute to their quota in respect of development, but the citizens can only participate effectively to partner with the state to develop when the citizens are well to do.
The type of federalism operational in Nigeria is said to have made the state governments, including that of Bayelsa, to be apparently over-dependent on the federal government, as they all run to Abuja on a monthly basis to queue for allocations from FARC and other favors to be able to run the affairs of their respective states.
Bayelsa State has sufficient coastline. We could have the deep sea port again. We could have the Kulama port. We could have Brass port. We used to have Port Harcourt NPA. We used to have Onen.
For Bayelsa, and indeed other state governments, to be effective, efficient and more responsive to addressing the socio-economic and development concerns of their people, analysts advocate fiscal federalism to create a sense of duty among the various states as autonomous component units of the federation on revenue generation required to run the affairs of their respective states. The summit will engender healthy competitions among the state governments, which will be left with no other option but to look inward, develop and tap the human and non-human resources of their respective states to drive development. Enyenagwa, Aya, Brazil.
Good governance is a product of responsive leadership and responsible followership. For Section 14(2)(b) to be effective, states and local governments, as the closest to citizens, must be seen to be delivering on good governance. And because government is a collective, we must all endeavor as members of the society to get involved positively. I'm Amotola Omojola, and on behalf of the production crew, I say thanks for your time. May God bless Nigeria.